Hey, Eagle Run 2-3 here. On the workbench today, some lawnmower blades. I love to sharpen things, and so let's sharpen some lawnmower blades. These are off of a Honda that is about 10 years old, and it's actually my neighbor's, and he has never sharpened these. So we have a factory bevel here, and it's flat on the back. We want to maintain that. Like many of you watching this video, you probably wanted to see what's the best way to do this. I too have not sharpened a lawnmower blade in a long time. I used to do it all the time. I had a little lawn care business when I was in high school, and I sharpened a lot of lawnmower blades. I have a little bit more skill now and a little bit more tool, and I wanted to try to do these justice. Also, you probably need to sharpen your blades annually, maybe more depending on if you hit something, but these are in great shape. There's a little bit of nicks there on the bottom, but nothing in the damage department. I've seen some pretty damaged blades. Same here. These have a unique shape to them because of the type of mower it is, so we're going to just maintain that. So I saw a guy use a bench grinder, and I have a bench grinder here, but we're not going to be using a bench grinder. You can use a bench grinder. At the end of the day, we are sharpening metal to cut a blade of grass. It's not rocket science, but I do think that there's a right and a wrong way to do this. Your blade is spinning towards you, so hold the blade with the bevel at the machine and let the stone come down and sharpen across right here. It's doable. This blade is curvy, and I wouldn't recommend it on a bench grinder. This blade is relatively flat. It would do fine on a bench grinder. Do not sharpen the back in any way. It's much like a Scandinavian or a chisel grind, where it's designed to be flat on the back and the bevel's on the front. So think chisel, don't think to apex like a knife. We are going to file these. I believe that is the proper way to do it. If you're inclined to use an angle grinder, please put a flap wheel on it. I'm going to sharpen this with a file, and I'm going to sharpen this one with a flap disc. I have a 120 grit flap disc on an angle grinder. There's nothing wrong with using a machine, but I'm going to do a file on this one, and because this one's curved, I think the angle grinder would do better. You do not need to use an angle grinding blade. You need to use a flap disc, a sander. We're not removing that much material. You would use an angle grinder if you're like trying to remove large amounts of metal, and that is just not the right tool. So first things first, we're going to scrub these guys up here. Just got a little wire brush. There's really nothing to this. We just kind of want to make it clean. If you want to go crazy, put that on the wire wheel and make it shine, but we're not going to do that. If you had a large amount down here, you could kind of scrape that stuff off. Looks like this has been cared for and is in pretty good shape. Alright, so file goes here, and you just file up. Make sure we're locked down here. It's really not hard to maintain that bevel. You can see your contact patches from the tip all the way down, and we are going down not for a knife sharp edge, but we want to get it nice and sharp. Okay, I want to make sure you can see here. We are filing. We have contact all the way from the tip up to the top of the bevel. I have some more work to do down here. When you get in close, you can see there is a fair amount of damage on there. It's up to you how far you want to take that back. I don't think there's anything wrong with just sharpening those cutouts and just kind of leaving it the way that it is. This is not a precision instrument, so I don't think you're going to have any problem with that. I'm going to go a little bit more here because I want to bring the edge to be a little bit sharper, and I still have some work to do down here. All right. We have a nice edge there. Definitely sharp enough to cut some grass. Okay, so that was with the file. No problem there. We're going to use the angle grinder. Now this is a 4.5 inch flap disc, 120 grit, which is relatively fine when you're talking about metal work. So I'm going to just go through here, and I'm just going to go straight across like this. This one has some twists and turns in it, and it looks like the bevel changes to be pretty shallow right there. So let's give it a shot. All right, let's take a look up close here. You can see it's not hard to follow along on that bevel, and I've got it cleaned up nice, but you can also see that blunt edge right there. It is not sharp. So down here we're not doing so bad, but down here it seemed like it had really dulled out. This is probably where most of the work is done, on that leading edge. So we'll spend some time down here and get that cleaned up. The bevel's looking good. We've got contact from tip to the top or bottom of the bevel there, and we're going pretty good. So down here where this had kind of rolled up a little bit, it was just so dull. This is an example of where possibly you could use more of a grinding wheel instead of a sanding disc. I had to spend quite a bit of time right here to get that knocked down and redo that bevel. Don't monkey around with the bevels on here. Honda has spent way more money on research about degrees and bevels on their lawnmowers than you have in your garage. Don't change this or overthink it, that if you want to flatten that out, you'll make it sharper. Yes, you will, but you won't have as much of a durable of an edge. Also, if you try to make it more steep of a bevel, yes, it will be more durable, but it's not going to cut with the same efficiency. Don't overthink this. Just copy the bevel that they have there, and you're going to have a great result. Let's finish this one up. You can tell that's nice and sharp right there. Still need a little bit of work right there, and then it's digging right there. You can heat these blades up a little bit too much, so do be a little cautious of that. There's nothing wrong with flipping around to the other side and coming back. Yeah, this one's the same. This area right here is definitely the problem spot. So spend some time and get that bevel nice and smooth. On a precision instrument like a knife, which is what I normally sharpen, it's so hard to just not try to make that perfect. It really, the edge is all that matters here, and how you get that result is just kind of part of it. So, all right, last thing, make sure your blades are relatively balanced. If they are way off one side or another, you could have some wobble. Now they do make a tool that does this. I do not have that. So we're going to just kind of go for balance on here. And it looks like this left side is heavy. So I will spend some time and remove some metal on the heavy side. Let's check the other one real quick. This is not as accurate as the tool is. So that one looks a little heavy on this side over here too. Yeah, okay, that one's pretty good. So spend some time and make sure that you're level. There's also a way where you can kind of balance it like this. I don't think that that's probably as accurate, but at least it will tell you if you're way off. You could just get a screwdriver and hold it on there. Let's see if this one shows, because this one was pretty balanced. So this one we showed was not really very balanced. So this one is showing the right side is heavy. Let's check that and see if it does the left side is heavy now. It does. But see, that would also show me that that's relatively balanced. But when we put it on here, let's see if the left side is still heavy. Yeah, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this side and knock this down. Okay, so at the end of the day, we're sharpening metal, and it's not that big of a deal because we're not doing anything precision with it. But take your time, do it with a file. If you got an angle grinder, great, but put a sanding disc on there. If you must use a bench grinder, at least hold it the correct way. Let that stone come into you as you hold it. So here's your angle. You would hold that right there and let that come at you. So anyway, I saw several videos on how to do this, and I felt that it was only right for me to at least make a video about it. A lot of times you get complaints on your YouTube videos, and you go look at their channel, and they have 0 videos posted. So trying not to be completely hypocritical here. And I welcome your comments. All right, Eagle Run 23. Thanks for watching.